Hey kids, welcome back to another episode of Old Man Plays CFL Weekly Fantasy. Been a hectic week on the old home front here. Anyone that follows me on the social medias or who saw this week's episode of the flagship show, the CFL Outsiders, will know I'm out here in BC, and that there Bald Range / Summerland wildfire that's ripping apart the southern part of the Okanagan, and it's been all over the Canadian and international news. It's about 10 kilometers that way. So, yeah, it's been a little bit, I don't know, but stressful, but keeping us on our toes. We were put on alert last Friday when the fires started. We haven't gone to an evacuation order yet, and frankly, they're doing a fantastic job of cleaning up the fire. It still says it's out of control, but that's basically to the west where there's nothing but forest. And they've stopped it to the lake stopped it to the east, and the firefighters have stopped it to the south and north. So great job on them. We're hoping the orders will be rescinded by maybe this weekend. And thank you to everyone who's reached out with well wishes and support for us. Very much appreciate that. But that's not what we're here to talk about right now. We're here to talk about football, fantasy football to be precise. And what am I going to do this week? But first, I should do a quick recap of last week, and it wasn't great. I had a total of 112 points, so didn't win me anything. I was up against all kinds of clay from, I believe, the Argos Fancast, and what did he have here? 127.8, so a good thumping. I took VA as my quarterback. I thought he'd play well against the Argo defense. I was wrong. I also took McAllister, who got no points. So, yeah, I had a few players that performed for me, but Philpott was good. Horvath was okay, but not great. So anyway, that now has me at 5-5. I don't know where I'm sitting in the standings because the league hasn't updated them in the last couple of weeks. But I'll just keep muddling along, and at the end of the season, I'll find out if I'm in the playoffs or not. So this week, what are we going to do? Well, run through the depth charts, what I can. For some reason, the BC Lions depth charts will not show up on my browsers as anything I can get. They're grayed out. I don't know what it is, whether it's something with all of my systems or whatever. But the rest of them, not a lot of major surprises out there. I will mention Brady Oliveira for Winnipeg is on the depth chart, but listed as questionable on the injury report, and I've seen reporting from 3 Down Nation that he's a game-time decision. As far as other teams go, Ottawa's got some of their defensive players back, and then they've shuffled everything there, so who knows what you've got. Saskatchewan, Conley's listed as questionable, so I don't know if you want to take him. Micaiah Polk for Toronto is listed as out, so we probably want to avoid going there at all. Edmonton, their defense has taken a couple of hits. Fox on the D-line and Kenneth Logan Jr. in the backfield are both out. So take that for what it's worth. And on the O-line for Saskatchewan, both Fry and Johnson are out, so they'll be starting their rookie. I think it's Anderson again, I assume, although I haven't seen that yet. Anyway, with all that said, I took a look at where I was at with everything. What was I going to do? Like I said, it was a bad week last week, but Cody going up against Toronto might do fairly well, but I'm more thinking that they're going to run a lot. So I'm going to stay away from Cody at quarterback and stay away from Mac. Kelly is always a chance, but he's been putting the ball up so much, and that Edmonton defense is pure ball hawks. So I'm going to give that a miss. BC, until Nathan shows that the rust is off, I would not take him after last week's performance. And VA, we don't know. It could have just been a bad game on a short week in Toronto. But he didn't look good. And historically, he sometimes, when one game goes bad, it turns into a bit of a slump. So I'm tempted, but I think I'm going to stay away from there. I was actually somewhat tempted to take Jake Mayer. I mean, he does reasonably well. He gets some reasonable passing yards. He gets a few touchdowns. and he's cheaper. But I just couldn't bring myself to do that yet. Maybe next week. Maybe next week. Zach, I have no faith in. So, not going that way. So that really leaves us down to, basically with Alexander out, there's only one person that I'm thinking about at all, and that's Trevor from Saskatchewan. Yes, that Hamilton defense is good, but their offense isn't going to be able to stay on the field. Yes, Saskatchewan is down a couple of receivers, but they looked not bad last week, and I think they'll wear out that defense, and Trevor will do fairly well. So that's my guess anyway. So he's my captain. As far as defenses went, like I said, the Ballhawks in Edmonton against Kelly could be a lot of points for a defense there. So I'm going that way. I do think Rankin will run better against that Toronto front than he has the last while. He's been up against some very tough rushing fronts, and it's hurt him. But I think this is a bounce-back week. And frankly, until Horvath gets slowed down somehow, he's a great pick. He's still only, well, he's gotten more expensive. He's 8.2 now, but he's getting a lot of the carries for BC. He gets the short yardage touchdown, so I think that's a given. When I took Harris for Saskatchewan, I wanted to team him up with someone, and it looks like Johnson will get the bulk of the workload. I'm sure Hamilton will do everything they can to take him out of the game plan, but I still think you'll see a lot from him. So I've gone that way. Then I was looking for cheap receivers, and I found Jeté, I believe it's Dylan Jeté, the rookie for Saskatchewan Roughriders, is $0. He's a free player. And he caught 2 passes and a touchdown last week. So $0, hard not to take it. I went that way. And then Trayvon Jones for Calgary. He's a little more expensive, but he was the best I could pick up with the money that I had left. It left me with $2.3K. I mean, and again, looking through it, who else could I have looked at? Who else might you want to consider? Well, with the Montreal receivers out of there, it really limits stuff. But of course, Max there out of Edmonton, he's been doing very well. I thought about taking Eberhardt out of Ottawa. Going with Mayer and Eberhardt might not be a bad combination. Between them, they're not. Eberhardt's up about 13, I think. Mayer's not that expensive. Could leave you money to spend in other positions, so you might want to think about that. But running backs, like I said, with Oliveira and Connolly both questionable, I don't see Roundtree rushing well against Saskatchewan. They have barely been using him at all. Mills, he might get a good game, but BC's defense is built to stop the run, so if Calgary's going to win, I think it's going to be with BA passing. And Bell, well, if I was going to go with a Ottawa running back, I don't know why I would, but I'd go with Attaboy instead of Bell. So anyway, those are my thoughts there. That pretty much covers it. I guess that's kind of my rambling way to say once again, I'm just not sure. I'm up against Sheldon Jones from the 2 and Out podcast, and he's been doing very well all season, so it's probably going to take a good score to beat him. It'll come down in the end, I think, to how Trevor does against Hamilton. However, just to recap for you, defense is Edmonton Elks. Quarterback and captain is Trevor Harris of Saskatchewan. My running backs are Rankin out of Edmonton and Horvath out of BC. My wide receivers are Keyshawn Johnson and Dylan Jeté out of Saskatchewan. And my flex is Trayvon Jones out of Calgary. Hopefully he gets a couple of those long touchdowns he's good for. Hope this helps you. Hope you have a great weekend of fantasy, pick'em, all that. Hope the games are good. It doesn't look like a prime weekend, but who knows with the CFL chaos. So there it is. If this is doing you any good, please subscribe. Please check out our flagship show, the CFL Outsiders. Drops on Wednesdays. Leave a comment on either of them. All that stuff, I don't know. I'm just babbling now. That's it for this week. Old Man, signing off.